Hey, what's going on everybody? It's the boss here with another video for you guys for today. Today, guys, it is the official review of the Crash Bandicoot Sane Trilogy on the Xbox One. If you guys recall from a couple days ago, I actually did a first impressions video where I went over my first initial thoughts of playing the game, as I've only played it for about a couple hours when I made that video. Now jump forward a couple days and I played the game a lot more. I made some decent headway through the game, so I think I am ready to do a full analysis of the game, or at least a fuller analysis for an actual review. So without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let us get into the review of Crash Bandicoot, the Sane Trilogy. So I guess to start off with the stories, there's not really too much for me to say about the stories. All of these stories are the original from the original trilogy. Not really much for me to comment on those if you played the original Crash games. Basic summarizations of all of them for all of you who have no idea. First game, Crash, he's created by Dr. Neo Cortex. He's supposed to lead an animal army, and then he gets basically kicked out of the castle, and he has to make his way back to Cortex's castle to rescue his girlfriend Swana. Second game, Crash is abducted by Cortex and used to get some crystals under the pretense that Cortex is actually good now, and he's trying to use it to save the world. By the way, he's actually evil, and instead you should probably just collect the gems to destroy a space station, but that's the whole premise of the game. Third game is where Cortex and evil mask known as Uka Uka, who is the twin brother of your ally mask, Aku Aku, are using a machine called the Time Twister to basically go through time and steal all the crystals and gems to use to take over the world, as they failed to do it the last two games. Basically, the rundown of a quick summarization of each of the stories. Not really too much for me to comment on those. Definitely one thing, though, that I pointed out in my first impressions video that I really love still is the animation for each of the cutscenes. Beautifully animated, beautifully voice acted by all the original actors. Really love the storytelling in this game, and frankly, it's just amazing to see this game in this quality with this kind of level with the cutscenes compared to the original game. So the story overall, very good. Tying in more toward the gameplay as well for the graphics. Oh my gosh, guys, the graphics are beautiful in this game. I know I mentioned in my first impressions video that, you know, I thought like the initial levels were really good, but now that I've had more experience with the game, they are more beautiful than ever. It's so detailed to the point where each single level that you play through is so vibrant and alive, whether it be ice levels, whether it be levels in space, whether it be going through the jungles that you have to go through, whether it be even going back to the different time periods in Crash Warped, like on the Caribbean where the waves are so realistic, they look amazing, so sleek, beautiful. Like the deserts, the pyramids and whatnot, looking so great with the aesthetic of ancient Egypt. Footprints appearing in the sand, reflections on the ice as you're going through the ice levels, and the fact that it's so realistic to the point where the ice physics are actually tweaked, where they're actually realistic. Oh my! Point is, with this entire thing, the graphics in this game. Oh my gosh, it was Vicarious Visions. You guys nailed the graphics in this game, and the nice little effects that I mentioned earlier. There's so many more of those to make the game not only realistic, but make those graphics just pop. On to some side stuff, though, that I actually really liked about this game. For one, if you guys didn't know, in the original games, you played as Crash mainly for pretty much all the levels except for Crash Warped, whereas in the original PS1 game, you got to play as his sister Coco for the first time as a different playable character. In the original game, you got to play as her on some airplane levels, tiger levels, and the jet ski levels in the Caribbean. But in this game, though, it's a bit different. The way that they've worked it is that Coco in the third game goes back in time to the first two games to, I guess, help Crash out. So basically, Coco is now a playable character. You can play pretty much all the levels as Coco instead of Crash if you do so wish. There's no difference within the moves or the power sets or anything. It's just a different character for you to play as. Of course, in the levels that are specific to like boss fights and to Crash, you can't use her, but it is a really nice option. I'm glad they added that in. And it's really nice to see also that they have some really unique trophies and whatnot for the game. They have them on the PS4 and the Xbox One. It's just really funny to see all these different hidden trophies and whatnot, these little bits that they added into the game. Or the secrets like jumping on Polar in the second game to get some extra lives. The achievements for discovering the secret pass to the warp room where you could go and get additional gems in Crash 2. It's just really cool, these little additional things that they added into the game, as well as it's really awesome because the version that I got for the Xbox One came with the DLC for Stormy Ascent, probably the hardest game in Crash history, unless the new level that Vicarious Visions themselves actually made that wasn't in the original game. I believe it's Future Tense, I believe it's called, or something like that. Oh boy, that level looks epic. So overall, the extra stuff, brilliant as well. Now, on to the most controversial part of this video. The graphics, the story, the extra stuff they've added, all great stuff with the game. Characterization, storytelling, voice actors, all that's great. The controls, let's talk about that. Now, like I mentioned in my initial review video, this has been an issue that's been debated among a lot of people who've played the Sane Trilogy, and unfortunately I can say that I am in somewhat agreement with some of these people. The controls are really good. Like I mentioned before, the jumping mechanic has definitely been changed. There's more hang time in the air when you jump. It's definitely not the same control, so you're going to have to get used to it when you play the Sane Trilogy if you've played the original games. And even if you haven't, you're still going to have a bit of difficulty. I think you can eventually get it, because I even started to. But the problem is, the jumping has been altered so much to the point that in some areas, like on tight platforms and whatnot, it was a nightmare for me, especially earlier tonight at the time of this recording. I tried so many times to try and get other boxes for the gems and whatnot that it was just brutal for me to even try to get them, because the jumping has to be so pinpoint, and that delay in the air really screws you up, especially when you're trying to jump on certain little platforms to try and get to these boxes. And even on the polar bear level that I played earlier as Crash, the controls are so slick now, which is really good. It works well, but the controllers are really slick, like in the tiger levels with Coco and the polar bear levels with Crash. They're really tight now. They're really more different. The controls are all different, and I feel like in some areas they're a little off, but overall though, I think the controls are really good, and they do set a really good pace for the game, and you can adjust them and get used to them. I just think the controls could have been tweaked a little bit better in some areas. However, guys, that is going to do it for my review of the Crash Bandicoot Sane Trilogy. You guys are probably wondering, what rating am I going to give this game? Well, considering everything that I've said, and about, all the game, all the factors that I've talked about considered, I'm going to actually end up giving this game a 9 out of 10. Really amazing game. This is probably one of my favorite games. It's a really great, honestly, I've had a really great time, and I plan to play so much more of it casually, and maybe for YouTube at some point, I don't know, but definitely a great game. The reason I'm not giving it a perfect 10 is because the controls are a little bit flawed, unfortunately. That seems to be a big thing with me for some of these reviews, but controls matter in the game, and especially in Crash Bandicoot. The controls are really good, just they need tweaked a little bit in some areas. I feel like they need improved on a little bit, but other than that, though, really great game, and I'm very solid giving it a 9 out of 10, potentially a 10 in the future. But either way, guys, thank you so much for watching today's review. If you guys did enjoy it, give it a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new with that bell notification on to catch my future videos and live streams, and comment down below what you guys thought of today's review and what you guys think of the Crash Bandicoot Sane Trilogy, or just your thoughts in general on the video. With all that in mind, guys, thank you once again for watching, and until next time, I'll catch you guys later. Peace out, bosses.